Well, hello there, Jessie. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Now, I did have a couple questions regarding your trainee events for students and residents. You've been doing that for a few months now. Now, for those who don't yet know what that is, could you explain a little bit what the trainee events are and how long this has been going on for?
In the past, we used to have student events, but we've realized we have such a need for residents to be a part of this movement as well. So we've changed the name to trainee events for students and residents. And these meetings specifically are focusing on CCHF values. We started doing them in about September. Every month, we always do it the first Thursday of the month, and they are national events. So we actually start them at 9 p.m. East Coast time, hoping the West Coasters will get out of work and rotations in time to join us at 6 p.m. On the West Coast time.
That sounds really exciting, and it sounds like a great way to connect the students, residents together. What inspired this idea, and what was the motivation behind it? Why is it important?
We have been talking for a few years about how do we reach people in different regions of the country, because it's really hard for students to take time off, to buy plane tickets and come to our national event, which is usually held in the spring. So we had talked about how do we do this regionally. Well, then when the pandemic happened and we were trying to figure out how do we pivot, we had one student reach out to us and ask us, is there any way CCHF would be able to host a residency fair, because a lot of the fourth year medical students were not able to go and do rotations on site, and that's usually when they check out different residency programs. So we quickly prayerfully threw together a residency fair back in August and had such an overwhelmingly positive response. We said, you know what, there's more than 200 people who signed up who never even heard of CCHF previously. They heard about us through CMDA, InterVarsity, other word of mouth people who had just heard about it, especially our CCHF members who just told people. So we said, let's do a meet and greet so people can get to know CCHF better. And that was super well attended in September. So then we thought, okay, how about we just do monthly events? People who don't know us can get to know us better. But what ended up happening is some of our students and residents, or people who had been students that are now residents, who had been part of CCHF in the past, showed up and said, this is so great because I feel isolated, I feel alone, and here I am with like-minded people from around the country. So it's really helped students and residents connect with other people. And even more than that, at these virtual events, I always have CCHF members, sometimes board members, practitioners, people around the country who come and present their perspective on the topic and also host our Zoom breakout rooms. So in that time, these students get a little taste of mentorship that they would never have if they weren't able to spend time at a CCHF clinic. So now that rotations are not always guaranteed for students and residents, this is a great way for them to connect with older, wiser people.
Well, it sounds like you've had a wonderful response from it. But what does this look like in the future, looking at student ministry in general?
We want to keep doing these events. We're going to end this year with a chai party to kind of celebrate what God has been doing. And I'm going to teach a little lesson on how to make authentic Indian chai. And this is just kind of our time to fellowship with each other. But starting January, we are going to start up with our monthly events, continuing to draw our topics from the values of CCHF. Now, down the road, when the pandemic is over and we're all able to meet in person, we're hoping to still have some of these virtual events because it really has connected people who have not been able to physically come and join us, but they have been able to join us online. We're hoping to start up some online prayer meetings, and that's at the students' request. We've done a survey, and repeatedly we hear students saying we want to pray with other students. And we're also hoping to have more of our CCHF speakers go and do on-campus or virtual on-campus events for these students, as they are all part of different fellowship groups at their own schools. So if we can get CCHF speakers there, it just continues to share that message that what God is doing amongst under-resourced communities in our country.